real quick, just some simple transactions. We added veteran offensive lineman Cam Fleming to the practice squad. We elevated Lavelle Bailey to the active roster. We added 2 receivers to the practice squad, A.T. Perry and Caden Davis, and then guard Will Sherman went from the practice squad to reserve injured. Any questions about practice or preparation here for this game?
Sean, you've spoken highly in the past about Bo Nix's ability to avoid sacks. Outside just being faster than an opponent, what else goes into that that makes him so good?
I think processing the defense. My experience is and it's the hardest thing always for us to evaluate, with some of the college players. But getting through a progression quickly and a decision quickly is extremely helpful at avoiding taking unnecessary sacks. Now, if you're processing slowly and you're having to see it longer, then it's just another one Mississippi with the ball in your hand. So his ability to process, aside from obviously he can move, but his ability to process helps that greatly.
Does that relate back to ball security as well? He's not turning the ball in terms of
and look,
make better decisions with the ball?
I think there's some of that goes hand in hand. How he carries it, his decision making, and I think there's some relationship there with that.
Coach, what's been the biggest difference? The first 2 weeks we had 4 interceptions. These past 2 weeks hasn't ended.
Yeah, look, we're running the ball better. We're playing better team football. I keep talking about all of us coaches, of providing the perfect pictures and continuing to do that. And he's getting experience. You see it, and it's happening.
Sean, what's your relationship with Jim Harbaugh? I know you obviously worked with John.
So I worked with John in Philadelphia. I know Jim. He's a fantastic coach. Obviously, his success speaks for itself, and both at the NFL level and the college level. And I was excited, that he got a job in our league, but not so much in our division. But he does a great job.
What are the characteristics of Jim Harbaugh coach team?
They do a great job. If you look up his overall career as a pro coach, turnover margin, it's off the charts. They protect the ball. They're smart. They're well coached. They always have balance in relative to running the football and throwing the football. All the things that we sometimes, all the things that are necessary to develop a team, and he's done that wherever he's been. You go back to USD, University of San Diego. It's not an accident.
Sean, Pat Surtain, Defensive Player of the Week. A lot of people are talking about him as a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. Do you think he's having that type of season, so far?
Yeah, and he's playing lights out. But I can't stand talking about those type of awards in the early part of October. But man, the play he made the other day was huge. He's obviously one of, if not the top corner in the league, and he practices his tail off. Everything about him. He's a great teammate, and so we gave him a hard time when Foley was out here, and I asked Foley how many interceptions. I think he said, what did he say, 45, 48? 44. And I asked Pat where he was. And I said, well, you need to get to work. So he's done that.
Sean, you decided to blitz as much as you guys are defensively. What has to be present in order to be able to kind of take those sort of chances?
I think part of it's timing. Vance and his staff, you're not just randomly part of it is who's come onto the field. You know, is it the running tight end? Is it the blocking? You know, is it the receiving tight end? What receivers are on the field? You know, is there lighter running back on the field? Like I worry sometimes about when Jalil's on the field, are we going to be looked at differently? So we've got to be able to break tendencies. So part of it's timing, and then it's intelligence too. I mean, when it's one thing to say we're going to blitz 2 by 2, but then when it motions to 3 by 1, how does that affect it? If it's a fire zone, now if it's a man pressure, less stress, but all of the above. Pardon?
Chargers are top in scoring defense so far this season. When you look at them, what sort of challenge do they present?
Man, number one, they keep it in front of them. Can't find explosives in the running game or the passing game. Their leverages, they're played with real good technique. And then you've got a real good scheme with talented players. So, I mean, they've held the Chiefs, you name it. They've look. I like to, after the touchdown reel, look at the explosives, and that reel ended quicker than I'm used to. And then so, obviously, with such a small sample size, we look at the preseason as well, and they've done a good job. Pardon?
You signed the 2 offensive linemen to the practice squad. Are either of the starters in the rest of the game IR candidates?
We'll see. Yeah,
Coach Bo Nix posted a pretty funny and clever.
it was outstanding. He had to look up the frickin' movie.
He said he'd see it.
Yeah. It was outstanding. I think I liked it, if that's what the heart means. No, listen, he's got a good sense of humor, and I think he had to have some help. He had to have some help. We'll figure out who.
Have you gone back and forth with him about the Ferris Bueller thing since Sunday at all?
Oh, listen, we were finished with that. And yeah, I called him Ferris out here, and he called me Dennis because that was my nickname from Parcells. So Dennis the Menace and Ferris Bueller. There we go.
Sean, you say you watch the touchdowns every week. When you said the play that the Giants made on the kick with Seattle, I guess one, is there a little PTSD to the Broncos Saints? 2, did that seem like that could have been called? I mean, James Territory was going to say
Give it to me again.
the blocked kick where the player jumps over because he jumped the A gap and not
Yeah.
the center.
Well, if our hands, you guys remember, Justin timed it, and there was no, and so if there's any, then you get into a foul. If it happens and you think it's happening, obviously those linemen, it's harder for the center to try to get up. But if you're clean, and again, there's something about the steps too. You know, it's like when they measure a vertical jump in the NBA, you know, are you allowed to take, the point is you can't run. So there are a bunch of rules that restrict it, and yet it's still possible. I have not seen that play.
Did you think you were competing with Coach Harbaugh for this job? Did you think about that when this process was going through?
I didn't know. Look, I only read what you guys read. I didn't know who the other candidates were. I knew they were interviewing a bunch of other candidates, and I was thinking about the other teams that I was visiting, and so no, I had no idea. Yeah, honestly, I didn't know. It was really more about like the different teams that I had gone to and making sure it was the right decision, you know, for me.
I didn't know if you knew somebody give him a hard time, like, hey, I'm interviewing, you know.
No. None at all. He was busy, just finishing up winning a national championship, and but I had no idea like who the strong candidates were or not. I was more concerned with, all right, finding the right fit myself and and that was pretty basic.
What's your impression of Justin Sternad, the way that he's filled in for others since last 2 weeks?
It's 2 good weeks. It's interesting. You never know. As coaches, we all can be guilty of typecasting, and then all of a sudden a guy gets in, and you're like, well, that can happen. It's happened to me before, and man, I love seeing. I said to him, I thought we practiced well today overall, just the focus and that motivates me.
Is there a difference?
Guys, when you open the window for a guy to return from injury reserve, what are you looking for before you say, okay, yeah?
Well, I think transition, what kind of shape, movement skills, you just have to be careful when it comes to reps, because what you don't want is someone's up and then they're back down. So I think you communicate with Bo and his staff, the player, and then eventually, trust those opinions. Someone.
With a young team, is there a difference between confidence and belief? You have to have one to have the other. And how close is this football team getting to believing, do you think?
Well, I think it's week to week. Look, I think the makeup's good. There's some grit, I think confidence, I've said this before, is born out of demonstrated ability. You got to do it, and then, man, there's nothing like it, and then you can feed on it, and we've all seen that. So, look, hopefully we're bringing in the right type of players that have that intellect, that confidence, and yet, look, there's a fine line between a groove and a rut, and we can't ever forget that.
When you looked at Herbert, whether it was when he was coming out of the draft or
I remember
what stood out to you?
Joe Lombardi, he loved him. I liked him. And then the irony was he got drafted. I don't know where we were picking those. Sometimes we're having an interview and I'm looking at like where we're at and where I think this player is going to get selected. And then lo and behold, Joe ended up having a chance to coach him. But you saw a live arm. You saw, man, like it whistles. And you saw the size. You felt the work ethic, the success. And yet there's always these like little projections because it's, he did this in offense, he didn't do that. You got to project what you think they can be and not what they can't be. But he's something.
Sean, when you looked at the numbers he's put the last few years, you're maybe not asking him to do as much now, but when you know he's capable of that kind of scary proposition that.
Well, I think he, like, I'm sure, like the rest of that team, there comes a point where you're most interested in winning. And so any quarterback, if they think beyond the team and how someday they'll be viewed, I think it's always winning, playoffs, championships. And so, look, Jim's success with quarterbacks, we've said it before, the two best allies for good quarterback play are a running game and good defense. And if you don't have those two, it's hard to play that position. All right, thanks.